Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
It's the first hour of the day. Still, we have to go at 1 o'clock. This is the longest class. I'm not sure. I will not bore you. Technology transfer is becoming very, very pivotal. There was an era, just to give the briefing in CSR was the first one. All the institutes were not even aware of the IPs. So the commercial guy who was at that time with the external brought in the IP activities, and people came to the knowledge of patent and publish. Earlier it was people were used to only focus on publications. Now after patenting, CSA has, because of their resources and funding, filed huge lot of patents. Certain got it granted, some may not, but after a while they realized, that is in 1995, they realized that no, it is not important to have a patent document. It is important to commercialize this, because that's where the actual essence of the patent ends. Any patent document you see, the IP document is to make money for the benefit of the society for commercial sake. So we are not making a money. Your vehicle document is nothing but not an asset, but a life. So they have Google their wing in order to boost the commercialization. That's where they started. And in 2000s, DBD and DST entered into the role. They have huge fundings given in terms of technology transfer. They opened the tech transfer officers, regional tech transfer officers. Like Byron has played a very good role in terms of opening 7 tech transfer officers. And that's where India is now being driven, that it's not just important patent and publish, but also it has to go to the front. So it's 3P. So the first half of the presentation would be explaining upon the TRLs. The second half, we would see on the patent to product. This is a book we published recently in the World IPA, by the 6th of the day. It's called patent to product. We have various examples of how we have commercialized, how the patents are being materialized, and how the proof of concept or the products are generated at various stages, and what are the various aspects of it. So this will be in the second part of our discussion. The first part, what we'll see, is to understand the basics of technology, like what are the TRL levels, not just the TRLs, in which we are more in terms of MRLs, market readiness level. We'll also deeply the commercial readiness level. We'll also see the limitations of industrial readiness level. So when you are talking about the technology, it's a perspective of the person. He might be an investor, you might be an entrepreneur, she might be a PhD study. So when each individual is talking about the readiness levels, it would be all closely interrelated, solely the perspective of how you see the technology. So user defined, whom I am today. We will see through the process of innovation development in terms of TRL, commercialization of web technologies. So just a very brief intro. In this slide, the takeaway is the views expressed are the presenters and not the official I making stuff. This is very, very important to take away, that the core presentation is started on my experience, how I have seen it, and my learnings of last 15 years are in IP and tech transfer. Just to give a gist, I have done nothing after my master's but to be in the category informatics field. My PhD thesis was in category robotics. I was going to be a PhD thesis. Then knowledge management, competitive intelligence, then business development, then again BD in DBT. Now I'm getting the tech transfer of this from the report. So when I'm giving my experiences, it talks about, yeah. So these are the experience I did my master's of Bauckham based in University of Oslo. So I did registered technology transfer professional app and they immediately start in top of this topic. Now, as I told, the session one will be from 8 to 11:30 or 12, or from 12 to 1, the we session of pet product. In this session, what we would see is, sir has told me that there are faculties and there are also students and there are startup entrepreneurs. So it is essential for you to give a basics of IT, start with that, then jump onto the authority. So very briefly, we'll see about, you'll understand what is intellectual property rights, what they are. Then we will see the IP and TD process flow so that you understand the flow, understand the process flow of the IP circle. Then you can decide on the TRLs. Then we will delve deeper into the TRL, MRL, and CRL IR levels, and we will discuss about like commercial, religious, and market with climax. So this is very important. This is given by Mighty of India, keeping in view about the first time visitors who have very first time learning about the intellectual properties would have no idea. These an intellectual property is referred to a legal right given to an inventor but his creator to protect his invention or creation for a certain period of time. In simple language, I have an idea in mind and that idea has a commercial value. Now, if I get this idea to Enroll, they will copy paste it. How am I going to protect it? Is that you will disclose this to an authority board by the government of India called as Patent Office, which is headed by the Honorable Elva Patents CGP rules. And this patent office will assess your idea, will check and tell you, okay, this idea is novel and we grant you a rights. Once you get a right, then you can explore the rights for a period of time within that jurisdiction in India. So what you have to understand is adherents are very jurisdictional specific. If I in India, you can only exploit it. I can't go elsewhere and exploit the rights. There are multiple modes, but what we see generally are pedals, copyrights, designs, and trademarks are the most widely used when it comes to any like webinars. The millions are given to both a product, a process, or composition. So if you are in a pharmaceutical, you can vote down position and you can get it patent. Now this is very stringent procedure in terms of evaluation. Usually, if you were 5 to 10 years back, a patent use to file a patent application, you will generally plan the 5 to 10 years. So even the life of patent is 20 years, prosecution time was too high. Now, in the recent years, Indian Patent Office has demanded flexibility for the lawsuits where we can go for the leave application or early filing and examination. So, as of IID's threshold, we are entering a patent somewhere in 7 to 1 year, 7 months to 1 year. So, that is, we have a leverage of the history. Otherwise, if you are the company, you have to stand like. And these are developed for a technical solutions, for a technical purpose. And if your invention is talking about the copyright, like artistic, music, dramatic creation, anything related to the literature, then it falls under the copyright. And this is reasonably low, easy to grab, and cheaper when compared to the patents. I'll give you the rates of patents if you were to file in India. With the attorney fees, approximately it will cost you based on the affiliate firm that you choose, will cost you 2 to 3 lakhs. You go to US, it will cost you 15, or if you select a big attorney firm, it will cost you 25 as well. Go to Europe, again, it's 10 lakhs. So, any patent application, very expensive, will lengthy, laborious processes. It involves a lot of counsel and thesis involved. Whereas copyright is reasonably easy to get done, although it has its own varies, but it is cheaper. It's cost cheaper than 1,000 rupees around to get. Industrial design is again, well, right, this is even for 10 years. This is even for in the aesthetic, external features appealing to the eye in the shapes, patterns, and configurations. So, patents are 20 years, designs are 10 years, copyrights are 60 years after the death of the author. Trademarks is lifelong, geographical indication is lifelong because it's given to the societies of that body. So, you cannot, on an individual basis, go out file a GI. it has to be that representative body. Then see the recent freak was the Colaburi camel was sold at 1.5 lakhs per Prada or something. And this became a very obvious spark, and Indian Patent Office has given them a specific GI to that now. Hence, they have to cut down, otherwise they will pay infringement. Otherwise, they have to pay the incentives or the royalties to the community of the Kolapuri. So, these are related to the societies, not an individual. So, if you talk about yourself, Ellie, it mentioned the four are the major things. There are other integrated surveys, protection of plant varieties, and other ideas. Based on your individual needs, what you are talking about, you can select it. As I told, for every application, there's something distinctively you have to qualify. So you should understand that. So if I say myself, then I want to pick it. Quality is nothing but it should not be present anywhere in the word. Go search it in Google or any case. That should not be there. In values tell you that it can be present in this. Having said it would, you have to give the implemental step of how you have uh, overcome the existing challenges and how your invention is much better than the existing one. So you have to give your inventive step to be present, but you have to articulate it the way that yours is uh, reading the superiority of the current invention that you are adding value adding. Industrial application is there. There's something called as non-obviousness, which is also very important. Now, non-obviousness is being done, expect reviewed by the patent examiner. It's not the one with the subject or subject matter specialist. There's other thing that you have to, if you remind you, section 3D. Yeah, section 3 of the real patent act, there's a list of people which are not applicable. So, matter you clarify all your interview steps. If it falls under the horticulture, plant varieties, what is said, they will not give you up the patent. In US, there is a plant patent, but in India, we have a plant variety, protection of plant variety. That is where you have to apply. If it is falling under softwares, no, it cannot be. It is falling under the nuclear and other defense mechanism. We cannot be patentable in section 4, I think. So there are lists which you have to. Likewise, if you want to go over designs, we should be visual features, shape, pattern to be 3D shapes. So there are certain distinct features, capability of distinguishing the goods and services for undertaking a post and others. Trademarks, you gain the logo, you can identify what is the product. McDonald's was it. So that's what. So as I told, every distinctive feature is very, very important. That's where you have to go back to the office. Now, having seen this poem, I wanted to ask you a question. You have listened to the IPs. What are the IPs that are associated here? Can we quickly interact? Designs, software, under which coffee lights, correct. Helps. We use it to alternate. Alternates comes under a super technology, maybe. Technology which is related to patents. And yeah, the biggest one, the highest value IP amount is this follow. Very from Roy has one. Everybody runs after the patent, not realizing the fact that the value of the patent would be much less when compared to the value of the flag market you can make it. And there are multiple parts. See, so let's put red ones at high value. It can be Nokia, Apple, Samsung, whoever it is. That's one PLP. Patents are evil for the operating system or else the data processing methods. If there is any technology global, Apple, then inside the phone that is related to patents. And as a result, software, manuals, ringtones, startup tones, images, features, all comes under the copyright. Red secrets, if there are how to assemble this code, there is a special technique. Nobody knows to connect this to, but this means to a spelled out and was a red secret. Design is the design of the phone, how well designed. So What we have to understand is, I have an idea doesn't mean that I can only go for one. I have an idea, I can go for a number of practice. I have money, I can go for any number of practice. But usually, no MLC in this world so far as by really became the world. So they will always choose the jurisdictions. As I told, these buildings are very expensive. You have to always choose your jurisdiction, either India, Singapore, Malaysia, India, USA, or a set of 10, 15, or 20 countries and file your value to your Calbis murder or the delivery because you will not make a business. To give you an example, maybe the technology that we're talking about is done Malaysia. Most of the European countries that will never have this disease. So there's no mind of me making a business. But in African workers, there is purchase. So your options you choose to go and find in Africa, then if you're going in Bali, we go today, like there is no mosquitoes. That is true. So it's a business path. So when you're talking about the technology, that's what we will come back. So when you're talking about the technology, it's a technology linked to the business. If your technology is not beneficial, there's a society, there's business. Always at the end of the day, it's the money that matters. Always be invested, what is the return on goes to? That's why we have to see. Now, as I told, this is a general thing. Each set, as I told before, each one has one predefined steps and procedures are recorded in certain acts. These are acts which are legal documents to the. This is an act like a constitution, a constitution book. So if you were to file a patent, you should understand this book. For designs, for trademarks, for GIs, for copyrights, and others, they have their app. And each person, we have to have the qualification of a Indian patent agent will file the patent. Trademark agent will file the trademark with. So this is not meant for the professors, students, or the other tools. There are two aspects. For if you are a student or a student. For a student, you should never be bothered about up to filing an application. The reason is, okay, there's an office. If you're an IBM student, you should just scribble your idea on a page, throw it to the IBM office, they will see it. But you should never discuss that idea with them. And not even with another group of the same middle. And I'm talking about like you are from the applied mechanics and the same applied mechanics, there is another set of people. Before you discuss how a draft, the reason why I'm saying is this will let the laborious process to show hire the person, right person. If you're a startup, don't waste your time on this. There is a scheme in Indian Patent Office SIPs scheme is there where you can approach any of the attorney firms, have to pay zero fees. They will file the application. Indian Patent Office will pay your fees just to boost you. So you're a startup, you have to take those schemes are very, very important. If you are an IIDO, take the services of IIDO facility. If you're a big company, put it into your IT management endeavor. Verbally, it's not your job. But until and unless you wanted to make a career that I wanted to be to clicking the him, then there is the way that you want to be to be. In ISTM already told this, I explained this, but just to click teams, you have to give a full disclosure of your full knowledge. What happens is maximum people they think that I will not make full disclosure, but I would make a partial. When you're making partial disclosure and you get it granted also, rights which would be there will be of the partial of your total equity. So it is necessary that you make a full disclosure, and the full disclosure is being publicly available, and you get a monopoly rights for 20 years if it is a patent because the design carries like this. And you may explore anyone from not to use it. This is the negative rights. Order you to use it is others not to use it. So if anyone else is making your intentions, you can go and sue them to take one. And you may mark my word, when it comes to implement, it's a very laborious process. We'll get huge lot of money to make actual business. So who can file a patent application? Anywhere in this room, anyone can file as an Indian citizen. If you are a person created the first rights, you can file a patent application. You can file as a national person, like individual being. or when your startup lead, or else as a small KTP, MSME, or a large equity. So file fees and these things will differ. As I told, no IT, non-obviousness in the scale applications is important. We will discuss. We will not go again on this one. Non-obviousness is must not be obvious to the person having the ordinary skill. When I'm talking about the non-obviousness, you have to find if I'm a biotechnologist, I develop microorganisms which is eating away the bacteria or microorganism which is eating away the plastic from the waste. For another biotechnologist who is in the same field of waste management should feel as non-obvious, but that field of team will go to the exam. So there is three defined examiners. There are defined biotechnologist, engineer, and environmental police and authority. So they will decide. Usually, this is a subject matter for discussion. Whatever is obvious for you might not be for me. Whatever is obvious for me might not be for the school. So we have to use subject matter discussion, which uh, you have to draft your application. There was one more slide which I did was if you had good drafting skills, you can find anything out of the pet. Anything out of the sun can be patentable was the US at the time. Let if you have a good drafting skill, you verify. And there was classic example of the guy who using his laser pointing, he made his cat flee. I just did it, I don't know. But he has filed 4 applications with various features. Once he said that a dye for pets. Once he said a laser dye for the cap. Another time he said something else, and every time he got it granted 4 applications in the same check. And US patent itself office after realizing that we got 4 plans. The starting is more important. So anything it should be correctly, we get you pretty properly. Now, having this is an IT stump, defend now and go to the PK. Any questions from IP? I will answer. Then we will go to TP. Now, this is IP. Now we will start TP, technology transfer.
So, what is a trade secret technically? Have the trade secret to be made as the or
Secret recently slapped. I am not going to discuss to anyone except the set of people that we are, and we are bound to abide to this confidentiality clauses of that. So trade secrets cannot be behind. There is a way. If I have applied in the patent application, it is being rejected or refused. No, don't apply. When says where you feel that my application might not meet the immediate state of the patent application, it's a good way to go trade secret because you disclose it anyway, you will not get. So I would say that this is not that important, but this is a great secret. I think trade secrets are the easiest ways, but when it comes to the breach of confidentiality, clauses are very different, difficult to prove. Example, if 12 4 people are in a trade secret agreement by law, they agreed for something and afterwards I have bowed out, I have a differences. I feel that I'm still part of the agreement, but I'll disclose it to some third party unofficially to have it exposed. It's very difficult. However, you can stop their use give trade secret, but it is very difficult on legal.
so with the proven technology, I mean this is very high here and it's a workability. So when we are doing the pattern, ideally we get take or the workable model depends upon working for us.
And we'll go to this TRL emerge TRL. I exactly touched that point. An idea we follow under TRL 1 or able 0 after 1 part. 1, 2, 3 is something where you will show that you can do it. We will discuss about in detail.
Yes, so as a BS student, I fabricated some solution in the lab. That thing I have published in a journal. Whether that can be back in the
No, you have a grace period, but that it doesn't entitle you to go for first publication. There is a grace period of 12 months. If you are the own author, you can apply that I am the author. This was out of some reason the published it, but after 12 months, your article will become a prior art and will not plant your patent. Say that is already published and it's confirmed.
So it is always recommended to, if you wanted to make a business, always do not publish study only for profession. Really against. Publications anyway, paper will get published after 18 months. So you will run your publication. The same document you can write in an JCB or any other general format and again publish. Not a problem. As I told you, it's the same drafting. So if at least in journal pieces you declare that we have not published that it's a concern, take it. So don't publish in, and if there is already published, then you have to check the grace period of 12 months. If you are lapsed, then you are cold. So we'll just agree to the kitty. They go to transfer knowledge creation. See, now traditional approach of the US was that they have an institute, they have a department, they do the basic research, and they publish. That was the earlier thing. Now this has been changed. Like they are going because it's not just the teachers and students. The universities have research parks. They have a section in company reward. Universities have ICSR. They have a list of ICSR as 700 companies. So we have companies getting rewards. We have government research, what is DSK grants, TBD grants. We have to avoid those grades. So when we are having not just the student and faculty, so student, faculty, and TBK, student, faculty, and a company. Or else it's only the faculty and some consultancy agreement. Or it could be a faculty and some section 8 or staff. So when we are having this much involvement of all these multiple people, there's a lot of knowledge, tips, skill transfer generated upon and generated that they get acclimated. So it's very, very important for IT protection and commercialization. Now the scenario in IIT and PSLand, professors will, everybody will patent first, then they will publish. After those two, they can also go for a spin-off. They can commercialize either through their own spin-off, or I can license it out to the industry party and commercialize. Or else this spin-off, apart from that spin-off, you can also go or CSR board. There are multiple modes of commercialization which you can do it. So the metrics goes like publications, patents, number of spin-offs, commercial benefits or royalties generated out of that patent. So all these are very, very important for us. So there is an increasing importance of technology transfer because of this. Because we are adding a lot of IP. It could be any of the IPs that we got. But what if there is none? Then how to make money? See, I see my IP is not valid in any of these things. I have always, it's very simple. It has got nothing but a simple solution. Nobody knows kind of rules. But still, I can do it as a trade secret or no licensing, something like that. So you have to identify those process. This is a technology transfer process. So when you have an idea, how it goes to commercial learners. So let's start. I have an idea. You say you are a student. How many are students here? Maximum. PhDs or masters? Masters. This as well. So you have an idea. And this idea might be in any technology field. It could be in agriculture, governments, or any other things. What you have to do is, don't get excited and decision about this idea with everyone who is running your course. You will take information. Say, like, I have an idea, APS speaks EDUC. You can go and ask, hey, dude, can you, if I'm mixing this component with this, what is the anticipating results that would come? That side of a question you can ask. We'll never go and mix this with this, give me this, which is not available. Do we have this one anywhere recorded? The way you will do that. So it's very important for you to know the public versus private. I had another presentation of public versus private, which is the on session. The only understanding is I am. So I'll just go from the lab. So I'm in a lab. We both are working on the same project. We have the same supervisor. So my discussion, public versus private, it's one is and a supervisor. Okay, that's what layer. Now in the same lab, the supervisor is having another set of technology research with another thing. So for them, we both are not public. We are different. We are private, they are public. Understood? They are different. So if you go a bit broader, both are from applied mechanics. The same applied mechanics cannot discuss with mechanical engineering. The reason why I'm discussing in the sense, the moment you disclose the one who comes to the patent office first, when file sneaks, it is there. It will never go and investigate whether you guys have discussed on the 24th February this aspect and he came back to me on 24th. So you have to understand. And in the same way, there are industry partners working with I do. So industry partner and we share a lot of information. So for that, we are still a private group which we can share. But the same discussions I cannot have it with any other public people. Now, likewise, there was a so you have to understand whom it has to be discussed and how it has to be discussed. It is very important. You have a preliminary invention in your place. Just go back to your respective people in IITM. It is the IITM said, come back, write your invention, map it. This is novelty. This is cumulative step. This is non-obviousness. I wanted to package this. They will do a preliminary assessment called as prior art search. They give you a report saying this. Okay, you say it so, but we already found some of the articles. Please let us know. Then you would tell no, whatever articles that you part of is having certain differences in terms of English statement. It's not exactly in statement. I have differentiated. So those set of discussions will happen at the IDF form and the preliminary evaluation report will be submitted saying whether we should go for patentable or not. So if the office feels that it has to be active protected, then we will position that. So we will position that whether we will file for a patent, whether we file for copyright, trademark, or any or multiple based on your budget, ICSR budget, these approval also something. So once that is done, then a selection of the filing procedure. Now this is to an acrylic form. This is where I go. Do not dwell too much because it will be too heavy jobs for you. Either if you're a startup, go and take that facility, give it to any of the patent agent, the Indian Patent Office will pay them. You have to pay 0 fees. You will get nothing. And it's always recommended to filing you as an inventor and applicate. How many of you know the applicate was the segment of rights? You bet. Applicate versus segment. So when I say filing an application at this position, they have to decide who will be the applicant, who will be the inventor. Inventors are always the one who created it. Applicants are the basically funding agencies of the organizations who are funded. In our case, IIT Madras is the applicant, professor is the inventor. Professors cannot become an applicant because they are subjected to their party. Anything under the employment or the reliable industry, asset employment creation, then IPA gets to be. Unlike if you are an individual startup, then you have to, if you wanted to where your startup is released, then you should file it on your startup. You file it on your view as XYZ or your name, then it becomes, you cannot cover such facility. So you have to understand what is applicant rights. At the end of the day, applicant is the one who is going to do all the commercial transactions and is the owner of the patent. Inventor, we always have the inventor rights. Whatever is given as a profit in the IPR policies in the institute or the organization, they will automatically roll back to the inventor. Which means inventor will always get the benefit, but is not the owner. It's always the applicant. So that you have to understand. Then this part of filing happens. So at any given point of time, when the filing is happened. So what if the applicant and the inventor are both together? It's rarely happening if you yourself are filing an application. The reason if you are bound to some institute, you cannot file. Now we are a startup. You are a startup. We have given the idea to somebody to work on. And we have also been involved in the technology development. Somebody who, like maybe our institution like IIT, and they're also developing that Tesla. They're also working on developing that. And we are also giving the equal spot, the betterment of the products and the it's like a co-development in both the IIT and your startup leads will be as an applicant, you will be as an inventor. you and the other equators who are both the idea may be part of the event. You both may be part of the application. Or applicant could be both. Both, because both of you are executing. Yes, only one party is executing is last time. Yep, so it is the ideas are zero to the back side. You haven't executed the idea. If you would have, then you will train yourself. The reason is you say then, okay, you there, really, I don't know how to. There's a professor who is sitting back there, eating his resources, trying to sort of page to do their experiments to get that idea executed. But funding is what we are doing there. If you give the fund, also the intellectuals go stay. At the end of the day, it is determined by the joint press development. But in my understanding, that would be joint EO. None of the issues would work just for an IR. If it was the case, you could have gone to any other small company, could pay him 1,000 rupees, and say, like it executed and leave 20. Now, in those cases, the service agreement legally you have paid it as the service and he's delivering you. And there he's relaxation of period. Here it's joint development. He's not you're paying for the consumables and not for the intellectuals with the professor. At any given pilot of talent in this filing, I can do a license. So I need not wait there the patent has to get it granted. Why? Because you do the prior period, right? Prior period is the day where your application will hit now. So the day I filed the get back to the office and did a prior period. So when my execution not shutting came from that day, I did not wait till the done of application. Until and unless I lapse or rejection come to patent office, I can stay here. Mostly is taking that. So I mean, still license it out. How I would do is a license strategy. I have a team of business development, portfolio team. The business development team is segregated into the core and the technique with respect to departments. So these people are again selected based on their subject matter specialists. So they will, what they'll do is they'll identify the companies which are working in that field. They will do an outreach very specifically to WhatsApp, emails, conferences, not door-to-door visits, and then do an outreach to generate ideas. Then we negotiate term sheets. What are the terms and conditions that I have to transfer the technology to the industry partner? That's totally at the distribution of the institute and the paid you. And this is where the expertise are required. What is the value of your IP? How much you should ask. Now that's what I do. Basically, my expertise are going here. That how will negotiate when a person is sitting with it in front of you for a technology? How much I should ask? And what are the various terms and conditions? Once I agree upon, we enter into a licensing and I take the money. And also, mainly after how long it goes post licensing on that step. You see, IDM has almost well helped by technology glass because it's licensing, of which we have to check every year how much made. So it's huge lot of but in terms of rates. Now, in this assessment, where the TRL way coming is why you mentioned this. There are two parts of TRL assessment. Your first page of 1 to 3 comes in the invention explosion. Will not touch on the essential skills of particular. And there would be something called technology biology assessment also. This comes either build like TRL 4 to 5, where you have to identify your technologies. Well, why do you have to do this test, right? I have 3,000 metrics application formatting. Like, I can't do licensing fraud people. You have to handpick the one which has got the potential. Then how are you going to select your balance, do a random, what be a big patent application and say like the old. So I have to see through various factors if there's a pricing of the technology, various factors that I biased my technologies so as to pick a stream of selected technologies or patents which has a higher buy in licensing. Now, how we are going to do this for we see now of this. Now, I would highly recommend you to go to certain books. TRL was first identified URL from the NASA. It evolved as an NASA thing, which was very core specific for aeronautical engineering practice. Unlike it was the penetrated into every way and it was generalized as the technology readiness level or technology readiness assessment, or there are certain needs in technology readiness assessment, technology readiness assessment, TRL, technology readiness test. So you read these books; these are publicly available. Read these books, and you will try to get much better understanding. Whatever bits and pieces that I collected are from this book school, with a few others. So NASA, at its early stage, has indicated technology as this. This is TRL 1 to TRL, right? So simply is where it is TRL 1, the idea is a very nascent stage. High risk, whether it would bomb or not. But when your technology has step 9, you have very low risk. Everything what to say is being demonstrated and succeeded. And if you were to pick a technology for licensing, it should be somewhere around here, not here. Because if you're picking a technology at here, you have to invest huge. And if you're in biotechnology or pharmaceutical businesses, your investment will go in millions of dollars. Because a drug you to enter into the market will take more than 10 years with the investment of $100 million approximately. So your always your technology, when you are a startup, you want to pick your technological licensing, it should fall under here. But there are 3 phases. As I told, the research phase, development phase, and deployment phase. When I'm saying the research phase, I have an idea, and that idea I wanted to conceptualize myself. I cannot, but I am seeking IITM's help to conceptualize it, and I'm giving the resources to IITM. So we both together work. I funded and I generated proof of concept. So that is where institutes will have. And this proof of concept, certain levels, the IITM is big. I'm picking IITM's name because it's big, and we have an MRT where we can also validate it. We have validated under relevant environment and or the lab test. Afterwards, we cannot do any code because there is a limitation in the institute at the lab scale facilities that we ban. So it has to override. If you are to do it in a operational environment, there should be some other facilities that come up. To give an example, I'll be making a research in the field of aerospace. I created some concept. I created a concept. I validated in the lab. I came certain things, but I don't know whether this whatever I validated is very work in the space, because for any of the inventions for the aerospace, it has to work in the respective parameters of the satellite, whatever range they have. So if you were to test that, your investment should be huge, and you have to make a prototype which will reach there. By that time, if it is passing there, then you have qualified. So those parts cannot be done. That has to be done either by industry partners or by startup who will get fund for the technology development fund having a good startup. You make a very good thing. So there are 3 phases, and our university very maximum work here, top year maximum somewhere here in Libing, and tells it should be always the industry partner which will take care. So if you were to put a line here, I would put it here that this is university side, that is industry sector. Unlike there are multinational companies over two for beer tea there because they have the facilities. When talking about big companies like L&T, Pfizer, Lotus, or any other big companies, they have an R&D unit. In fact, same vein is there in IITM Research Park. So they start from the structure and they can have a facilities to execute. So industries like R&D facilities can also do the basic to other max, but any academic institute will not go beyond 5. It is rarely that an academic institute is going beyond 5 is that the student might themselves have invested the time in resource facility so that they do it. Oh, wait, what is the purpose of the DR? As I told, it is very, very important for the user. He, as an investor, is assisting a technology is totally different as the PhD student, what you are assisting. For you, the least bother about market or of commercial readiness level. We see this technology at this TRL level. I wanted to take it to another TRL level. You will be focused on only on heat, right? he will be focused on only on high investment and marketing or MBS. MBS. So his focus would be to make money. It's a startup. And this part that technology could be anything. I need an investment. I wanted to make money of it. So his focus would be match this I with E so that he can make C or have. Right? So it is up to the individual person, but everybody sees the same thing. He also sees the same prototype. So everybody sees the same thing and everybody wants to invest his. So let's consider this as one of the prototype that we are talking about to understand the TR levels of this. So in this one, as you have shown, there could be a design rise, there could be a integrated chip inside, there could be a technology it is lying around, and copyright there is a software that would be up there. You know, again, it's the thing is port, I feel to be negotiated and copy about this. Now this is a full-fledged version which is used. I believe this is the at the line. And because I'm right now using it, I'm not using it as one product or prototype. There is a mass manufacturing happening, and I have these multipliers. So for me, this is falling here. So if I were to negotiate, my risk factor is very low. I am happy to invest. The reason is I don't see any further risk until and unless if there would be competitive forces. But I'm happy to invest, and this if your pricing is at a reasonably marginable, you do your pricing assessment to do a market fiction price. So if you are good, you can capture the markets. So this technology has multiple things, and this is at a level. Now I would say the same thing that hologram hotel, the one which comes instead of all these PPTs and other kind of things. That's the latest technology. Now, at that point, we are not in that version that, okay, I can walking through IIT to San Francisco to I myself representing rain through a hologram, making a presentation coming there. So that's still an ideal. I'm giving you an idea. From that, I guess would be somewhere between here that they have tested once we have succeeded and we wanted to see. Now, as an investor, I would say that, okay, I see a lot of potential here. I want people to just take up Zoom, Teams, and what was the other one? Please. So, all this online platform, and we will enter into it and let's pitch in a best. Now, that's where the assessment has to be done at advanced technology, the risk level. So, this technology readiness level provides the common understanding the technology status used to make decisions concerning technology funding and used to make decision transitions to technologies. Where to start and where to fail it. Then we are doing it. Having said, this is, as I told, this is a NASA thing. Proof of concept. When you're talking about this thing, everything will be in engineering. So your recall is when I'm talking about NASA space. Aeronautical engineering systems and functions. Okay. So laboratory environment, element environment, finally operational environment, and operational input. To give you an example, laboratory environment is like chemistry laboratory. Real environment is like whatever I say is working in preclinical studies kind of thing. So I'm just debating the same in computer, but I haven't made anything. I have computerized the virtual effort. But operational environment is whatever I have evolved out of this. I have made it and it is currently working. Now, this section can go if two ways. Is what I have read is that they will try to skip TRL 7. Take the most of the diseases until and unless if it is a new technology where the demonstration space is pretty cut, where the risk factor is high, they try to even do the TRL 7 and Ganga, otherwise they skip the 7 and Google UPRL 3. So it's same knowledge understanding concept formulated, proof of concept demonstrator, performance functionality demonstrated, and the rest goes to the prototype weeks and others, operational team. Having said this, This is a clear-cut example. Simply, you can understand with case that when I talk about this thing, I have a basic idea. It is in brain. I haven't done nothing beyond that. But this delivery application, I have the word and materialized. So then could be a basic research. That basic research, what I have kept in on the page, I have made certain experiments, done some research, and have created a proof of concept. Now, this proof of concept has to be proved. Component functions verification. You develop the component, but whether it is working is important. I think I have developed the glasses which can see through the wall and electricity. Now, this is the proof of concept, but you don't know whether these glasses will make to see through the slow. That functionality has to be established. Now, this functionality has to be established. Now, there should be a what. Now, you say ethical functions in the relevant environment. When I say relevant environment, you did not define the what's, right? I would say there is a street, there's a mud walk, there's an RPC orders, there's a break walk. So there are many, which well it is going to penetrate and show you the other side is important. So this relevant environment has to be has to be simulated and kept. That your technology has to be proving that relevant environment what it is. Now, once it is true, then full-fledged system working in the sense that if I am sitting here, how many was that I can see? And making of a story flow, take it as a little one, but a full-fledged overall bird's eye view is what you will see to it to make this into a market without any features, which means your product should be available in market. I will say available in market and it's making money after this year. Like so here we'll take one more example. See, you have this understanding. Any questions here? We can talk about. This is a basic phase. This is development phase. This is deployment phase. And this phase is where you will have your patent documents. Unlike if you have a product patent, you will cover here to here. If it is a process patent, you will only cover the basic process which is there. So patents are products, process. So what you are clearing this, then it is a product patent and your specification should be this. No, I clearing only this, and you will be eligible for a provisional patent, not a complete patent. Then you have to give your ideas as a provisional patent. So where and how we can claim in DC development. Once you file a provisional, within 12 months you have to file a complete specs. Otherwise, it's swap. So you should be calculating that when I file the provisional application, I file it here. And I'm confident within 12 months I wait. If you're not confident that within 12 months you'll not wait, people wait. Wait until you reach here and you get that confidence and fatigue.
How long does provisional that gets timeline for approval?
12 months. We don't get any approvals for provisional. Provisional is only your keeping your handkerchief here in the seat that I'll come and stick.
Does it get published or
It gets published. That is the reason I'm showing within 12 months if you're not file, then it goes. You have to file a complete specification with complete study.
so last year the beginning considered the start when I sent the approval the priority up.
Applying one is has to be considered from the date of filing. Today I have filed a provisional. Within 12 months, I should file the complete specification. If I am not, then you will be judged.
It's not the end of I.
Date of filing, wherein I file some date within 12 months you have to file your complete. So what now after the application has been filed as 1 year has been covered and the quick not difficult and the submit. You're getting this pressure. I said when you are not confident enough that you would not make a errors within 12 months, better wait. Don't rush for it. Professionals have fight to better molecular rights when we are in a competitive field. See, as a startup, if you are not competing that one, be sure that you have all the experimentation tools there for you should publish. Why you raise yourself? Like I'm telling you, the pharmaceutical industry, they will wait for the drug to expire on this state. So there's a lot drug binding, which is getting expired today. There's a some pharmaceutical who would make the generics and store in their warehouses just to release it 12 o'clock in the day. That is how it's just approved. They are not running in such a competitive world. Provisions are also like that. Okay, if I'm having a very painful idea, I do not want others to see or copy it. But it is always recommended if you're not confident of highly between values, you have to take your time, make your proper homework to get your data correct, and then move forward. Otherwise, you're resting away. No, this is a value of death. Understanding the value of death is another thing. Value of death is there are two areas of death. This is an academic value of death. There comes the startup value of death also. So any idea we have to go to two values of depth. One, take a basic research, the academic research between the basic research and the development phase. Another value is between development phase and the value scalability. So the first value of that is where my office plays a role. That as an institute, we have a lot of patent applications, and we are supposed to get the technology funded to go to an industry partner, otherwise it would be last in the lab. So we try to find some industry partner, we license it out. This is where we license it out. And this licensing will either can go to the Class PA, MSc, small business, anyone, or private sector, then it could take part. If you can see, here the role of government labs and accreditations are both who will be doing basic research. Afterwards, it is the MSLE and private sector and the last sectors who will take this beyond certain limits. So this is the first value of that which needs to be overcome. And what are the other challenges are like there are various challenges which could be a product level, business level, innovation level, process level challenges. You see the product. It could be of a bigger product, higher the performance, more sustainable. In terms of business levels, lower the cost, faster production time, high returns on investment. Business is very important because when we are doing an idea and an execute, what we do is we use very high qualified metals like tungsten, aluminium, silver, and other things. But when you take such materials into a consideration while making a proof of concept, it becomes difficult when it has to be mass scale production. So business challenges, innovation challenges in terms of market, understanding the market and scale of the research, also challenges is what you have to see. Now, as I wrote, there are multiple here. What we saw is three para NASA. There's another direct TRL assessment which has been given for the same thing. And one good thing of BIRAC is it has clearly segregated the things and given a PDF for each person. We're talking about result. Anything, and you will get a PDF version. Within the rest also, vaccines are different, biosimilars are different, regenerative medicines, medical devices, artificial intelligence. So everything, as I told, when we are talking about certain TRL understanding, you should be within that shoes of technology to understand. You can't map an apple to a banana. So an engineering TRL cannot be mapped for drugs. At the same time, a software TRL cannot be matched to an civil engineering. So you have to pick the right TRL assessment, what it is. And these graphs and the two books what I have shown has given very clear segmentation. Each team will have a model. You can go and assess those, and you have to compare an apple with apple orange with. Now, the other good book I will suggest you to read is A New Lens for Innovation in New India. This is been adopted by the Nikia, one of the good books. And if this is publicly available, you would read this book, you will get to understand the techno-commercial readiness and market maturity metrics with few case studies. So if you went to, we have already discussed in depth in PRL, studies, CRL and other things. I'll not go back. It will also talk about the MRS, market readiness level. When I'm saying the market readiness level, I compare my technology with the market. Now it's a two-level comparison, and I will do that to finish technology is basic mapping needs are defined or not. Potential business models formulated with value proposition. This technology, if able to go into the market, what are the value propositions that it has? Now, whether we can identify early stakeholders identified for the need of validation, this is totally different than what I discussed. So, everybody talks about technology, technology, technology. But if I made to succeed as a starter, I should also have a CR. These are all intricately talking about the same thing, but with a different perspective. Now, what is a minimum viable product of pain? Now, this we will never talk about in technology. When we see that, okay, technology 2.2, 3.2. 3.0 has got a few other features because of that it becomes 3.0, but is a minimum viable product. But 2.4 is also a minimum viable, I could say it. So, likewise, what is a minimum marketable product completed or operating revenue? Operating revenue back generator. Are we talking about commerce revenue that it could generate? So the perspective is pretty much different when we are talking about TRS versus ML. Likewise, CR, commercial readiness level. Now I will show one chart after this, which would give you a much better idea of what TRL environment side. So these are the commercial readiness. Now when we are talking about the minimum viable product, when we are talking here also minimum viable product completed and pilot initiated. Minimum marketable product in the operational process validated. So let's see the last. Now this is another PRI which I haven't covered in much lot. This is point investment readiness level. Here, this is more in terms of the investment, but not to confuse too much. Jump on. Let's jump on. I throw back with others. Let's jump on to the clearance here in the market levels. Please. At any given point of time, I should be having a broad idea of all these things. Then only I can identify the gaps. I believe these gaps you will look on your derivatives, what I should do, so that I can achieve some. Let's talk about a fourth one or something like POC. POC is like research level. It is a proof of concept. When I'm generating a proof of concept as a PhD student, have you ever thought about a business concept to begin? Never. Because your job is, as a researcher, I wanted to hear technology. I will not be the business. But as a startup, when you see your proof of concept, you should also have what is a business plan and whom I should identify, who is my investors. If I can't, I won't take it as an assignment, or else I do this both before I take the technology research. So there's a different perspective. Like let's talk about validating the relevance environment. This relevant environment is very important. It's my relevant environment, operational environment, demonstrated environment. These environments are very, very important. And this is based on the context of your technology. And when I'm talking about the relevant environment, what are the minimum marketable products? What is a minimum viable product? Understand? So are I discussing about this minimum features? So I'm planning to have mouse. So what are the minimum features of the mouse? Is that it has to have right click, left click, and a scroll. This is the minimum features. So it has a right click. I generally bother whether this is in this state, this is its actual mouse shape, or else nowadays fingerprints you can do the same thing. If I move my fingers, I need not even touch this. So these are minimum features are 1 to 3. Now these minimum features again something if you go into the standardization like these aspects of business, as the commercial and market products happen be fitted. So when I'm thinking of licensing something, I would try to see at these like at 98, I won't go for the license. For nobody, we gave a license at 98 for because it's already end of topic. If I put more efforts in that with some regulatory, I can make business myself. So ideally, I have no money to fund beyond this to make expert and license my product. Then I want someone else to be here. And this guy that is taking it this technology, he should also have this understanding of market size and segmentation. Now, let me give you an example of a market size. Market size is a very drastic game. It's like a virtual unsubjected to market risk. In COVID season, you could see there was Saturday peak of mask facility in 97 or whatever mask peak hits were that so high that in those 3 years itself has created almost 10 by years of business. Afterwards, it's again restricted back only to the hospitals. I'll say yes, that they're probably getting up and work differently. So market really drives you. It's either market pull, is it a market push? At that time, it was the market pull. Any term they can have, it can make a certified BPE or you could have told. Now, unlike now, if you were to allow in the sense because a market push, like everybody is habituated to this mouse. And I have a mouse, you paste 2 stickers into my fingers, and that's done. And not it's a market push. So in market push, if it clicks, it will be a disruptive or not illegal. Replace this command is a question. So you have to understand and you should have your market strategies, whether it is the market push, whether it is a market pull, and whether we have a market segment. Now coming back to the market size. In India, we have 1.4 billion vehicles. So early amount of mask it's same. If everybody has to use, there's a huge business.
The same size, it is not available in, say, Germany. The number of population is very less. Does it mean the market is less? Might not, because the Germany of the mask per mask cost could be €1. Here it could be 1 rupee. Size of the market could be. So I'll give you another example with high margins. There are certain products which are commoditized. If I were to make 1 lakh rupees, I have to sell 1,000 units. Now the same way, there is one product in INM which is made per unit cost itself is 1 crore. And if I make 10 units sold, my business is 10 crores. There 1 lakh units with 10,000. So you can understand it. It's only the pricing. So your technology, how you are pitching in your market size and segmentation is, I have example MRI issue 10 crores. So if I can sell maximum 100 units or 10 units also, I will do business done and you selling an extra machine 1 lakh. Understand that the dynamics and where to invest where not. So you should always check about your TRL, MRL and all this consecutivity. You will have this slide available. Now what we discussed is the first value of that, which is happening at a scale of 3 to 5, and where the technology transfers can help you to lean that academics to the industry partners, and it's industry partners when we take this to the next set. Now, what is the next burdensome thing is, once this is my job done, completed, but at a point, again, the industry partner will have to face one more value up there, which is called as a secondary value. Then this is more in terms of the scalability issue, production issue, and all other things. So that if the way to succeed in a product, your product has to be scalable. So this is the secondary value of that. And this value of that is on the startup value of 10. And this value is where who will raise a final. Everybody is now seeing I have raised the Series A for Series B for C fund. So these are the fundings. This would be more post-graduate fund or a fund that your startup will usually go for a seed grant, by a big grant pattern. Now here, big grant will not work. The 50 lakhs is of no use to it. It has to be 50 crores.
So the scalability that if you were to be a startup 100 crores, so that 50 crores ka funding whom do I should go and how I'm going to make my pitch for my technology, how I get my fund, whether it is an equity fund, whether it is a fund against what, that is all subject to mostly it would be TPD. They will take the startup, this is a startup calculated. Like you see the many of us will see the short terms, right? This is what it is, then invest certain funds to go back to market. Now with this we will cross and we will see too. These are the successful technology transfers that we did. Is that one patent one would be the cost of a patent could be either 12 crores or 2 crores, 50 lakhs, 30 lakhs, 40 lakhs. No. It all depends on the technology that you're talking about. And it's all depends on the terms and conditions of what we are going to discuss with the industry partner. Some success stories like have displayed and we have to take a questions before we read to our next session.
So you mentioned that minimum market will target, right?
Yes.
But it should be the market more.
No, maybe not viable, not an MVP and look.
It's and you it should be MMS market of features, especially when they are in the startup phase only that is measured. So if it is say the MRP is not a common
It could be the terminology difference. I'll go some say that TRL, some say TRI, some say something else. It's terminology difference, but what you ideally say is correct, that it should be the features. It could be. See, there is studios.
So that it was the stage you mentioned high fidelity bro.
That's in the
You are the also the last number of 4 stages. Yes, because high fidelity and
features. Features. That's in us how the direction of features. Okay. So the gist was for you to think beyond technology, talk about promotion, talk about market. Even you can see about we haven't discussed anything of the IR do especially investors. So the idea is to get grasp this whole ideas when we are talking about this technology that it could be features or it could be same to you. Now we know that it will vary. We can taking the gist of the input point, but I'm because of
The last thing, it's when you product the process it's ways.
ways. My claim is how I trap my process screen versus a product. If I'm training a product, my claim would be more product oriented and features oriented kind of things. If it is a product, I would say dimensions. This is a circular product. Dimensions more. Process may a circle makes no difference. It should be some temperature or else some catalyst has to be added. Quantity of that catalyst matters. Quantity of that composition may the range matters. I'm adding this at a range of 5 to 10%, which is a very broad. Either you would say pi to 6. You can't say 1 to 100% right? So the process schemes versus product.
The data processing mechanism also it sounds like a
You can have both product and process
the same one.
depending on the data from suggestion. You not a better ability. So say exactly the right one, but you could what other recommends based on it. But if you were qualifying for both, go for both.
So can you explain about spin-off and the technology terms?
Spin-off is a company which is generated by their own inventors through a university support. Professor Tiller has 2 students. He had one spin-off Pioneers. That's a kind of example.
We were really even in the spin-off. So
Yes, it would be spin-off and startups are different. So startup is it could be a startup away from my thing, but I wouldn't say my own spin-offs. They are also startups. The spin-off generally is that I myself am opening. I am the inventor. I myself opening a company through my institute and going to spilling off through my incubation and going. So that's more of spin-off calculation. Startup is a AP startup, whatever the DB rarity is now. Even the spin-off thing of the start spin-off, inventors driven.
But whether that investor start a news, what is inside that spin-off?
Terminology, very important. We don't run off of this terminologies like how to say it. Okay, that is also a startup. We can't deny that it is not a sim. You have to understand that it is coming out of the university to the members. The next part of the university skills.
So what we will do is we'll quickly go through one case study rather than many which I have selected to understand how this is a live case study. As I told, so this is a live case study that we have published in the last 4 years. I've licensed more than 60 technologies, both to the startups, spin-offs, MNCs, and other companies. So these are the some of the licensing that we have done. The innovation, when nurtured with intent to purpose, finds its way into the world, not just as an idea, but as an impact. So every of these startups have their own theme, and that is what it is driving them to become successful entrepreneurs and startups and delivering the products. So in the World IP Day, 26th of April, recently, Dr. Kamakoti sir, along with Dean and Prabhuraj sir, has launched this book. This is called as Technology Transfer Success Stories, wherein we have acknowledged certain products which evolved out of the IP. So each one, what you see here, is a product which came out of an IP. An IP could be a patent, and more specifically, this includes patents. So we did not intentionally included anything away from the patent except the copyrights, which is one. Otherwise, whatever you see here is more into a patent. Now, when we are talking about the patent to product, how the journey evolved is what we were trying to explore. There are 36 case studies in this book, and more are there. So, to give the gist, what it talks about is the patent number. Now, this is an individual patent. This is a single patent application by Professor Kodanraman. We have licensed it to Archean Chemicals. Now, this is a classic example, but we charged them 50 lakhs for this. But what we gained extra was R&D, because patent which we gave was one set of inventions which they do not wanted as it is. They wanted certain other changes. So we could have and 4 times more fund in terms of the R&D, which is through a JDA. So it is always important to maintain that engagement with the industry partner and a hand-on-hand industry partner with the technology developer, because when there is a bottleneck, it becomes a problem. So how we are going to go in a hand-in-hand example is what we were going to see. Now, they say I've already explained in first valley of death, second valley of death. We will see how we have overcome both the valley of death and what are the various sources. Now, just to focus on this fiber optic technology solutions for multiple purposes. So, this is actually the invention. This is actually the invention which can do a testing and purity check in water, pharma, chemicals, healthcare, food safety. And this is a fiber optic technology solutions for multiple problems. Low cost, rapid disease diagnostic design. Right? Now, let's see the real time. So, this technology is developed by Professor Sai from Applied Mechanics of IIT Madras, and it's called as a U-bend fiber optic system technology, a versatile chemical and biosensing platform that provides precisely the manufactured disposable same fiber optic sense probes cartridge. There's a cartridge which goes in here that can connect to a single point of care device of an array system to analyze samples within 20 minutes through user-friendly software. So there is a cataract, this is a sample, this is a probe, there will be a cataract, there is a device, and you get your results here. this is a device prototype, what you see here, and how this device has evolved and what are the IPs that are associated, how it made its journey is what we are going to see. Now, as I told, everything is not Rome is not built in a day, overnight. Likewise, this was also over a period of time it evolved. It started in 2012 and 15 with the seed grant of IITM, where he started his research and filed his first patent in 2016 for this technology. That's the first IP that has been filed. Then it evolved in 2018 into an automatic fabrication of few fiber optic sensing probe establishment. Now this same thing gone into this device was again then patented. Then they incubated it. They incubated now there's a spin-off which you're talking about. This is a university spin-off by the own inventor and professors called as ChemBio Sense Private Limited. And they, as they were going in the research, additional patents were filed, additional inventions happened. We're going to see in the phase one, it was the seed grant. And phase one, there was one more grant from IGSTC. And then there was a phase two grant of the same IGST. Then this single point of contact became one proof of concept as a point of care device. And afterwards, they have a collaborations with Recover, a company which we have licensed this technology to. One is we have licensed it to ChemBio. ChemBio by themselves cannot scale it to the international levels. As I told, if you were to go to US and other markets, you need an international partner. Recover INC in US is a international partner who have supported to take this technology in US multiple places. We have filed in many other places. That's where we have many of our international funds. And there was an involvement of the TANSEED grant. And in finally, 2022, fiber cartridge and adapter was developed. With this is the final device in 2024. Everywhere it was multiple patents filed and granted. I don't know why not coming. Everywhere there are 4 to 5 patents which have been granted over this period of time. And this is the device which they are using it for multiple assessment of point of contact. Let's see now how the TRL has evolved. Now that's the company, product, and the associations of various funding and associations of various licensees, how we have helped them to take it. Now let's see the technology. Now here we are not talking about only technology readiness level. We are not talking about CRL, MRL because that comparison has not been done. This was done very quickly for this book. So we could pull out a very initial research. As I told, TRL 1 funding and grant by the seat by IITM Research and Ideation. When technology concept was this wire. Inside this wire, you will see that fiber optic which is present. That is what is envisioned, and then they prepared proof of concept. They have bent this wire, and this wire is connected to their cartridge, which would give the analysis. This was a proof of concept. The patent one was filed and in process by 2016. Then they took a grant from the IGSTC as a phase one grant, and they developed a lab validation with a what do you call single point of care unit. Single point of care kind of product was developed, and that's where patents were filed for the cartridge as well as adapter fiber bending, and Recover also came into picture in 2018 for an international phase. And in IGST second phase fund, they have demonstrated this in the relevant environment as a single unit. And we have licensed that to ChemBio again. And they took the TANSEED grant, and an operational prototype machine was developed. I'll show a video. You will get to understand much better if I'm showing a video. So they have operational prototype developed, and actual system was demonstrated through this fund gig. and finally actual system was manufactured and marketed. Now in this thing, what we have to see is this is a product which came evolved out of it, which has started as one wire, then a bent with a cartridge, then a bent cartridge with a single point of care, then a unit for doing multiple things, and finally a system where you can not just do one simple sample analysis but multiple sample analysis at a given point of time with multiple samples and multiple cartridges. So it's an exhaustive system which they are running in. Now, what the recent progresses, we are also trying to get some other vendors who could penetrate the Middle East and the South Pacific area of the geography. As I told you, you as a single person going into every nook and corner of the world is not at all possible. You have to take certain support, and that support is taken as through a licensee or else through some of the VC fund or through some of the activities which you raise it. So now this recover was more prominent in US and Canada. So we wanted to capture the Middle East as well as South Pacific. So we found a vendor who could help us. So we all together are working out something. So every project to become successful, it's always involvement of multiple people. I'll just show that video. You will be having much better. Now we are in USA, China, Canada, Thailand, Australia, Hong Kong, and European countries. Is where we are having. This is the invention that we are talking about. This is a fiber bending machine, and they are bending the probes in a pre-calibrated pressure and measurement so that it is residing into the correct form. Once the probe is completed, they will connect the probe. They'll check the parameters and dimensions of the probe. Then they'll connect that probe to cartridge. There's a point of care device that is where connected to the USB cable to the power of this device. The application kit connect starts acquisition. So the data will laptop single time. Now they'll connect the probe and the sample cartridge with the probe to the POC device, and then where the testing happens, and it gives you the testing is done through the software. So there's a multiple IPs here, as I told. This device, they have also single point of contact thing. Was showing there was the complete version, multiple point of contacts. Now, this is that we are going to see as a array absorbance biosensor. So this is a samples performing analysis with a multiple probes. So what you see in 2000 was only that bent ray, but before this is a whole device translated from to reach to this this stage. Now these are in multiple samples. Rotate the horizontal and keep the position. Now this more, not just whatever the number of kit. If you have the broader number, is what we can absorb. So technology can get time that we are looking at and the time when we are seeing stage, but at a given point of time it would be translated. Like
touch screen was a great technology. Now every that is not of a great use. So technology gets uh, absorbed and away very fast. Examples which we are showing. This is a small team who are heading this thing. This is the team of people, professors. The employees are again the PhD student and the MS. People who have created this phenol called as Chembio. We have licensed this to Chembio as well. We have licensed to Recover as well. We may also license this to. So it is up to the terms and conditions of what I can either license it to only one company, multiple companies, create an exclusive, non-exclusive, exclusive for one field of. And the good part of this agreement is that exploring the different fields that they are not competing with one another. What Recover is exploring is a different set of market where again Imbio is working is a different set of both the people. And takeaway summary is patent to product is a long journey. Stakeholders, not just one. And is the founder doing all the things by himself? Not be like if you are starting sitting and doing a patent prosecution as well, you will be absolutely wasting your time. And you doing your finance is also not good because you will be not aware of the Indian laws in terms of finance. A chartered accountant is needed. If not a permanent one, we have to hire a temporary consultants who can do the needful and you just surpass it. Don't do all by yourself. Usually a product will have more than one or multiple IPs. In our case, we have given 5 IPs and we're still filing it. As I told, maybe Professor Sai can file tomorrow one more IP in continuation to what is been existing as a new device as I was talking about. So the alpha version and the beta version, when we are talking about the alpha version, the technology TRLs could be at a level, okay, my TRL 9 ends at for the alpha level at this point, the point of care using a single point. But if you're seeing the beta version of the technology, it is at the complete product which we have seen, the machine. So the technology readiness level will also translate based on the end product. So at given point, how are you assessing? As I told you, it is up to the subject of the context of how we are assessing at what point. And understanding the value of debt to take precautions to overcome the specially government schemes. In our thing, if you can see, the government schemes were greatly used, not just the IITM grant, we have used IGST, we have used Startup TN. I guess this is an industry one, I'm not sure. But there are multiple funds which were used. We have used the licensing fees of Recover also in this investment. So Professor has utilized whatever we are getting from the Recover licensing fees into this one. And in a case, we have also given Recover the co-applicant status as well in one of the patents because they have funded for it. As I told, not all the patents will have a Recover as a co-applicant, but there are 1 or 2 patents where the Recover has funded for the technology translation. We have given them the co-applicant status as well. But at any given point of time, being a co-applicant doesn't entitle you to explore the patent technology without the consent of the other applicant. You have to take. That is what, at least in India, the norms are. In US, there is a clause. I mean, there is a practice that both the applicants they explore independently without taking the consent of the other. But in India, we'll at least take the consent of the other party to explore it. And it's done. I'm trying to close in a minute. And TRL translation is very important, but should also consider the MRL and CRL is what I told. And read that book by Niti Aayog. Understand the case studies of techno-commercial readiness level. There are 3 case studies which have been given. You read that case studies, you'll get to know how exactly these are validated at a given point of time. And dealing with IP is critical as it involves technical, legal, business compliances. So there is no excuse that ignorance of law is no excuse. Everybody has to know. You can't say that I'm a startup founder. I don't know what are HR policies. I won't manage about HR. So if you are into the game, you should know the law, then you should start. You know the patent law, apply for the patent. Know the copyright law, apply. Starting a company, what are the basic DPIIT norms are, whether you're starting with Startup India or DPIIT. So you have to know the norms, which we will conclude. Thank you very much.